Every day, at least 1 in 9 people go hungry around the world. In South Africa, 11 million people are considered food insecure. Many of these people do not know where their next meal will come from. For some, begging on a street corner has become their only option for survival. Their day-to-day living is a struggle, and most are unable to escape this reality.
There's sometimes you don't give food, you see. When we ask, they don't give.
Food insecurity is when people do not have access to affordable and a sufficient amount of nutritional food.
There's no one to give. We go to the bins, we try to find something from there.
South Africa produces 9 million tons of food waste a year, which costs the country 61 billion rand. At the fresh produce market, truck drivers arrive from 3 o'clock in the morning to pick up and drop off stock. People buy mass amounts of fruit and vegetables to sell on both a small and large scale market. But a lot of this food may go to waste before it reaches consumers. The agricultural sector contributes the most waste in the supply chain, as masses of fresh produce are thrown away each day.
The problem we experienced is more on post-harvest losses, and that's in terms of quality and quantity. And if you look into subsectors in agriculture or within agriculture, obviously the fruit experienced the most of post-harvest losses.
Food waste also occurs in the storing of goods, the packaging and distribution process.
There's a lot of emphasis now on infrastructure, and the challenge that we have with infrastructure specifically, we see a lot of products that's being damaged when it's transported to markets.
Studies based in America and Europe have found that food wastage happens mainly at a household level. The Council for Scientific and Industrial Research are looking at whether South Africa share the same trends.
At the moment, the focus of the research is at consumer level. So our focus now is looking at what is influencing consumer choices relating to food waste, because my belief is that consumer choices and preferences actually also determines what happens upstream in terms of food wastage. But there's still a lot of work to do.
Dr. Olofse believes that South Africans have lost the ability to judge when food is still good enough to eat.
Well, what research has found to date is that there's very few people that actually do use leftover food. The majority store it, and then in the end it gets thrown away anyway.
It's the retailers' high standards and food policies that also create food wastage. For example, if the produce is not aesthetically pleasing or does not fit into certain size containers, the perfectly edible food is thrown away.
If the food is wasted, then it's no longer accessible for people. If it's past the sell-by or the use-by date and it hasn't been used, then you cannot now give it to the poor people, because then there's health issues associated with that.
Some retailers are working together with other organizations to alleviate the amount of waste. For example, Woolworths is working with Meals on Wheels, a national charity organization that helps feed 1 million people a day. Meals on Wheels cooks with the food that is donated and gives meals to those who need it most.
The food that is wasted reduce the volume of food that is available to people. Also, food wastage increase the cost because there is cost associated with disposal of food that's wasted. So therefore it drives up the price of food.
According to the Worldwide Fund, the lowest income earners spend 80% of their income on food.
I spend a whole day if I make 35 rand a month.
The retail sector has a support system to deal with food wastage, and often their costs are covered by the food prices. Some retailers do not assist their suppliers with their food waste, meaning the agricultural sector is missing some kind of support system.
There are a lot of farmers that are willing to sponsor or to donate those foods to causes that's applicable. But the infrastructure and the systems to get that food donated do lack in the agricultural system. I think there's a lot of ad hoc plans. Somebody or some organizations is doing something here and there, but there's not a comprehensive overarching plan to do anything about food wastage.
Although there are plans for food security, South Africa is still new in their research of food wastage. With little knowledge about the issue and no proper integrated plan to alleviate the problem, the growing crisis will continue.
If you look at the overall picture in South Africa, with about 1 in 7 people going hungry, then I think we've got a serious problem. We can't afford wasting food while people are hungry and are not food secure.
Until a solution is reached, it is the poor who suffer the most.